Hey, welcome to Advent for Moms. We are taking some time for ourselves this busy season to just reflect and to regather our thoughts and reclaim some of our emotional space and some spiritual fatigue that we might be experiencing. So today we're talking about letting go of holiday expectations. There's so much pressure, I think, that we put on ourselves, and maybe perceived pressure from family members and other friends as well, to have the perfect Christmas experience. And we just need to reshape that and look at it through a different lens. Some of us, we have natural obligations that come up during this time. We're planning food and preparing meals and creating holiday events for people and gathering gifts and attending different things. And so these are natural events in our life that we are going to do, regardless of what else is going on or how we might feel. But we want to make sure that we are carrying those things in a loving way so that the experience of them is actually what we're hoping for. And we're going to look at 1 Peter in chapter 4, verse 8. And he says, "Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. Each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms." So we can see here that we are supposed to offer hospitality without grumbling. And I think sometimes, because of this sense of obligation, we slip into this mindset of I have to, and we can actually cause a stumbling block within the service that we are trying to do. The other thing we can do is, in addition to looking at things from a loving perspective, is if we legitimately can't, then we need to ask for help. And that requires vulnerability and humility, but it is also an approach out of love to let somebody know that you are overwhelmed and you can't do this thing and you need help, or you have to say no. And that's going to be okay, because we are not striving for perfection. We are trying to go through this season with grace and beauty and full of love and joy as best we can. Now, Satan is a thief, and he is a thief of joy, and he is going to try, we know he's going to try to rob this holiday season of its joy. So if we look at chapter 5, verse 8, he says, "Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that your brothers throughout the world are undergoing the same kind of sufferings." So we know it's guaranteed he is looking to sabotage us, and we need to be alert, even in our own mind and our own thoughts and our hearts. With our own sinful nature, it doesn't take much for us to be derailed. And so to be alert through this season, as well as letting go of that perfection expectation that we put on ourselves. So there's some other feelings that go along with this. There can be anger and bitterness and resentment even in some of the activities that we are trying to accomplish. Looking at family get-togethers and Christmas parties in different environments, difficult relationships are going to bring out these feelings, because this time is so meaningful and we have so much expectation for it. There's this extra sense of, there's just this extra emotion that goes along with these things, and we have to guard ourselves against those feelings. So ways to combat those negative feelings would be vulnerability, sharing with somebody, having reconciliation types of conversations if you can, but also forgiveness. And that is on your end and my end, and what is going on in my own heart, that I can forgive and forget and move forward in grace and humility and try to do what I can to be at peace with all people through those situations. Now, other people are experiencing grief and loss and feelings of separation, and there's not like an easy fix to those, nor is there for some of the other difficult relationships, but grief is a little bit different as you're going through it in that season. And the way to walk forward through those are same with vulnerability, sharing with somebody where you're at and what you're actually feeling, to bring somebody alongside you so that you can have prayer and communion with somebody. And that takes humility to ask for help, especially when you're going through a time that feels very personal and closed off. But it's important to reach out and not be isolated, because that is for sure what Satan would have you do, is to isolate yourself from community and to wallow into despair. And that is not what our Savior has for you this season. There can be meaningful connection for you. You have to look for it and start with prayer and talking to God about where you're at, and allow Him to provide for you in ways that you don't expect. So receiving love and help also takes humility, and that's a practice we all need, I think, is to allow people in and to be receivers of help. And just also revisiting that Satan is going to try to take that from you as well. A sense of community, a sense of love, belonging. He wants you to feel alone. And you are not. You are definitely not alone. So final thoughts for letting go of holiday expectations. What is our goal? What is the goal? And I think ultimately, as you're thinking about what it is you're trying to achieve, we can go back to 1 Peter 4:8, where it says, love covers a multitude of sins. And I think that is our goal, is love this season for our families, for our communities. And we don't want to get in the way of that, because we're stumbling over this perfection mindset. 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. Now, He cares for you. I looked at the Vine's Expository Dictionary, and it's the care of forethought and interest rather than out of anxiety. So the things you are actually already doing for people this season, you are caring about these people in your lives, planning for parties and gifts and hospitality. There's forethought there. And that is where God is also thinking about you. It's not an anxious kind of care like, oh no, they might fall, this might be a mistake, but an intentional kind of preparatory care. And that is where He has you in His heart. So let's cling to that verse. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. And He knows the anxious thoughts that you have and the things that you are dealing with through this season. He knows those, and He can care for you through them. So let's entrust those things to Him. Let's release perfection, and let's embrace letting go.